What's happening, y'all? Let's get into something. So, when we talk about monitoring spirits and stuff like that, let's talk about how we get familiar with those spirits. And we have a hovering spirit sometimes where we stay stuck and stagnant on the things that have been done to us. How we have to take responsibility and accept accountability for the doors that we've opened to allow people to have illegal access to us. You know, the relationships we should have left, the people we should have stopped dealing with, the things that we hover over and watch from afar because we haven't quite yet let that thing go, let that person go, let those thoughts go. You know, the past is the past type of situation. See, so let's just scrub down how we're going to move forward, how we heal. First of all, we need to stop hovering. See, when we hover, we're stuck in a place in time that no longer exists. We're bargaining with ourselves to accept subpar or below standard treatment because we're choosing to ignore what really took place in that relationship. And it's natural to reflect, it's natural to yearn, it's natural to do all those things. But sometimes we hover too long and then we choose to go back into something that is unhealthy for us. And when our body tells us, I need to heal, it is time to de stress, it is time to declutter. We need to shut everything down and be still and be patient and prayerful and just say, you know what, I got to move on. Because we fool ourselves, we trick ourselves out of our peace. So it's easy to say somebody hijacked our life and did all these things to us, but we forget to mention we answered the call when they called us. We went and hooked up with them and had that one last conversation, or we're hovering over their social medias or who they're friends with and attached to. See, we forget to mention those things when we're talking about monitoring spirits. Have you become a monitoring spirit? Let's roll it back. Ask yourself that. So when you're hovering, ain't you watching where you want to land your eyes, where you want to beam in on, what you want to focus on? But ain't that also a monitoring spirit? They're like twins. So you see, it's important that you sever and cut the ties with that familiar spirit and make the decision to shut everything down, to back away, to accept the things that were unhealthy, to accept the things that you've allowed to come into your life, to accept the poor decisions that we've made, and to accept the fact that you are strong enough and challenge yourself to change the trajectory of your life. Like, what am I going to do now? What is the immediate takeaway, the action steps that I need to take right now to make my life different, to help my heart grieve, to get through this process? Because we know hovering ain't it. We know linking up with that person ain't it, because there was a break in something for a reason. And sometimes God breaks us to our lowest point for us to see, I've been telling you you wasn't supposed to be in that. I've been telling you to get out of that, but you chose a different route. And my child, I still love you. But there's consequences with every choice, especially when we don't accept accountability. I don't care when, I don't care how, but there will be a time. Okay? We have to all check ourselves. Before we start giving the enemy that much credit and energy, let's refocus that energy back to ourselves and say, oh, okay, I need to close this because this ain't it. I can't worry about nobody but myself right now. I can't keep opening my door to this person. I can't keep opening my bedroom to this person. I can't keep opening my legs. Because see, some people still opening their legs to that thing because they feel like they can't move on past that, or they feel like they don't want nobody else to have it. But you got to remember, you really stopped wanting it a long time ago. You're settling for whatever you're accepting just to hold a piece onto that person, just to control the emotions that you don't want to deal with, the unhealed emotions that you don't want to deal with, the trauma that this toxicity has done to you that you don't want to deal with, your work that you don't want to deal with. It ain't nothing about that. See, as women, we emotionally connected to that. So if your emotions have checked out of the relationship, child, you can't tell me you enjoying that. Mm-mm. You can't tell me. You're just numbing yourself down and reducing yourself to accept something that is no longer there just because you need that warm body, or that you don't want to deal with a rejection. You don't want to deal with abandoning. You don't want to deal with letting go. And I get it. Breakups and grief and so forth is big deal. But what ain't helping you is hovering over that person, monitoring that person, and telling yourself it's them. Child, it's you. Now, what I found successful is I shut everything down and start disconnecting years before the disconnect. Blocked years before the disconnect. Change numbers. I mean that. I'm standing on that. And because that is a boundary that is easily to be broken only if I allow it to be broken. And I haven't. And that's just what it is. It's like a hard brick wall that you got to deal with to heal. It's like everything comes to a halt, it comes to a stop. Now, I know there's a different process for every person, especially if you have children. I don't have small children, and I never had children with my ex. However, even with children, there's nothing wrong with a mediator, y'all. An unbiased, healthy, sound minded mediator. There's nothing wrong with it. You tell the mediator that you choose, respect my healing, respect my 5 stages of grief, respect that this halted me, this stopped my life. My life has changed. The version of me no longer exists. I need you to streamline the kids seeing their father. Don't streamline that process to nobody that's one-sided with him and one-sided with you. Never. Because you're going to find yourself beefing with somebody that you didn't intend on having a beef with. You're going to find it disrespectful because they're going to end up getting caught up in a lie trying to cover something he's doing. And you're going to find out he probably got the kids around a new girl and this, that, and the third. In the back of our mind, though, y'all, as real strong women that's keeping it 100, we already know that's going to happen. Because you know you ain't going to stay single and you know he ain't going to stay single. So you need a solid pillar, a strong tower in the middle mediating your co-parenting. Because you look at all the instances on social media, they just waiting for the guy to pull up with a girl so they can break the windows. This is because it's past hurt and trauma that ain't dealt with. That person is still healing, but you acting like I can give my baby to my baby dad. It ain't nothing. No, you can't. If you was ever in love and the next 2 weekends after the breakup, you got to give them kids to that man who got this floozy in the car. Child, you going to wild out. Stop lying to yourself and stop challenging yourself. When you set a boundary and you say, okay, and you're not resistant to this man and he's not resistant to your plan, and y'all come together and be like, here's a mediator that is unbiased, unmovable, ain't playing no games about these babies, and ain't getting in the middle of our bull mess. That is the person. Y'all both agree. When y'all don't agree, it's because y'all both caught in y'all feelings. Then y'all got to get the courts involved. See, I don't do all that court stuff. I ain't got to get the courts involved. But sometimes people need to get the court involved because somebody's abusive, neglectful, and so forth and so on. They need to go to a meeting space to meet with your kids. That's fine and well. But what I'm saying is, if you're unhealed, you don't have to be strong and act like you got this. You don't have to test that. You don't have to be so prideful that you can say, I can give my kids to my baby dad and not have no feelings. Because guess what? It's impacting your kids. Your relationship has already fostered an unhealthy environment. But now you're acting out towards one another, physically maybe, verbally maybe, and it's mentally damaging your child. Probably little ones. And not to mention when they become older child, now they acting like the both of y'all. So understand your processes and ask for what you need in the process. Now, if you don't have no strong friend or strong unbiased person to mediate that thing for you when you got kids, then you need to seek a higher level of restrictions. Do not keep that kid from that man if he's not abusive or neglectful to that child or to you, or had a history of doing abusive things. Make sure y'all do your due diligence to find a mediator. And if it has to be the courts for protection for the both parties involved, both parents, then make it the courts. That is somebody's job. And it is okay. Okay? All right. Now, we're going to wrap this up. Stop answering the call. Stop romanticizing about what was. And romanticize about who you are now and where you're going. Stop hovering. Stop allowing other people to hover and then call you and tell you what's going down. That ain't your business no more. And furthermore, you shouldn't even care. Okay? All right? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It don't pertain to you. Unless you choose to be the third cord in a relationship, child. Okay? 4, find an unbiased person to co-parent and mediate visitations. All right? That's how you begin to heal. That's how you ask for the right help when you're in the process of your life changing from one level to another, whether it's a breakup, a grief, of a passing of a loved one, whatever it is. You set strict short-term goals and action steps that you can actually accomplish to get to your center of your healing space. And you focus on you and God unapologetically. Okay? All right. Until next time, this is your girl, Miss Motivation Mogul Mindset, Ava Cherie, the Inspired. God's love and God's peace to you all.